Hey YouTube, what's going on? Chris here. I want to bring you guys a little update on Bitcoin. Guys, today we're looking at it's 3406 right now, and what we're going to talk about are we going to have further downsides. So that's what I'd like to discuss with you guys. As you've seen, we've broken out of that triangle or that kind of bear pennant that we've been talking about. We actually did have the breakdown out of there. So now we're going to see where we go from here. So guys, if you could, like, subscribe, all that. We're trying to get 200 likes on this video, and you guys did it on the last one. So thankful for that, and I just really appreciate each and every one of you. So guys, we're going to be looking at a lot of different things today. We're going to be looking at Fibonacci's from different levels. We're going to be looking at the moving averages. We're going to be looking at support and resistance, all that different type of stuff. And we're really going to go through and we're going to see what's potentially next for Bitcoin. So guys, we're looking at Bitcoin and we're looking at it on the 4-hour right now. And what you can see here, I'm looking at a Fibonacci and we're going from our swing high up here to our swing low down here. Now guys, the biggest thing that I've seen that is the most concerning to me on all these past reactions, so remember that's after we have this big fall, you're going to have a reaction or a dead cat bounce. After each one of these falls that we have been having throughout the chart, we've made it back to this 0.61H, which means after this break from 6,000, we realistically should have at least bounced to this 50, around that 48, 46, or up to this 0.618. And if you guys remember some of the past videos that we've done, we've went through and each time we've had a big fall here. And just to give you guys an example so you can see, we'll just do this quick. Each time we've had a fall and we've had a reaction, we've made it to the 0.618, and that's not the case with this one so far. So even right here, guys, you can see we had that big fall and then we came back to the 0.618 before falling back down and basically almost creating this little double bottom here. But we have not been hitting that 0.618, so we have not been following that same pattern that we have been following. So I want you guys to be very aware of that, and in my opinion, that means weakness, guys. So we add Fibonacci in terms of our swing high to swing low there, and we're below the 0.236 now, which is also very bearish. It's very difficult to get up above that, guys, and do some research on that, how hard it is to get up above the 0.236 on an initial fall like that. And we got up above it a couple times here, but we did not close up above it. So we're still below that, guys. I'm going to get this off the screen. And then also I wanted to show you this triangle we've been talking about, how I was saying a break's coming, a break's coming. And guys, how we knew it was going to break to the downside like we were talking about, take a look at the volume. So the volume that we have here has still just been decreasing. So we have not had an increase in our volume, which has been very disappointing as well. And also, guys, just the way the trend has been down. And if the way the trend's down, then that's naturally most likely the way that it's going to want to fall. And you can see how we broke down out of this. Now, what we want to see discussing these triangles, all right, guys, a lot of times you'll have that break and then we'll try to come back to it. And so far, we haven't even made it back to this this trend line to test it, to see if we can either test it right here or get back up into it and close within it, and we haven't had that. So just in my opinion, guys, I feel like we definitely could have another fall down to at least this 3309. We may get a little bounce off that, and we'll put that as support just due to the support we've had there before, and we're going to go off the real bodies. So right there is the spot we could potentially look at for a bounce. We'll see if that happens, and if that does not hold, guys, I really believe we're going to go down here and we're going to test this as a double bottom. Now, as we've read about double bottoms, that can be a good reversal. So maybe that is what we need, is that double bottom, and that's why we've broken down out of this triangle. And then maybe we'll have that buy pressure come back in around 31.27. So I'm going to keep my eye on that, because last time, guys, when we fell here right there to this area, we had some decent buying pressure come back in and we ran back up. So I wanted to show you guys kind of my downside targets here, potential buy areas around that 31.27 and also that 33.05. If this 33.05 breaks, then we'll look at that 31.27. If that breaks, we'll probably be looking down around that 2,800 or so, guys. Now, another thing that we've lost as well that we want to factor in. So we're going to look at this overall move from when we fell here. Just like this. So if we were going to be bullish, guys, we would have gotten a bounce off the 0.618. That's right in here. And you can see how long we traded along it. And what that is, that's bots defending it. All right, we know that there's a lot of bots in this space, and the bots were saying, okay, I have a buy signal here at the 0.618, because typically we would have a bounce off that, and we didn't get a bounce off it. We broke down here to the 0.786. So the 0.786 really needs to hold, guys. If the 0.786 is broken, then that's why we kind of talked around that $3,300-$3,200 range that we could potentially go long there. But I wouldn't feel comfortable with that, guys. For me to go long, unless I was just going for a scalp and I was getting in and out quick, playing a quick little bounce there, maybe on the hour or something like that, I would look at potentially that 31.35 for a potential buy order. And it just depends on the volume. Are we going to have volume coming in? Is there going to be interest there? And those are the things that I want to pay attention to and that I want to look at. Now we factor in the 20 EMA, we factor in the 50 EMA, and we factor in the 20 EMA, and we're below each and every one of those guys. So that's another bearish camp that we can put in the bearish camp. So when we get rid of this here, guys, another big key that you want to pay attention to. Do you see this long wick and this rejection that we had at the 200? So we moved up here to the 200 on the 4-hour. And we wanted to close up above that, and it didn't happen. We wicked up to it, guys, took profits, and then look what happened. We fell right back down after that, guys. And that's where I want you to be so careful that we have to wait for confirmation in this market, especially now with the trend being down, because take a look at these, guys. You know, in a typical market, you see something come in like that or a candle like that, you could definitely say, okay, we're going to start moving to the upside. But this is a completely different market, guys, and anything can happen, and we definitely need to be prepared for the upside and also the downside. Now, upside targets, I would put, first one, guys, I would put at this 20 EMA right here around 34.53. We'd have to get up above that and close up above that to even make an attempt at the 50, and then we would have this overall trend line that's coming down upon us right here. So, and that's where I want you guys to leave down low. I mean, are you seeing all these bearish indicators as well? Are you guys feeling a break to the downside, or do you think we're going to be surprised? Because that happens too, guys. Even though it may not be the most technical thing in the world, we could have a big whale come in at any time and move the market up. And that's just it. That is what it is. I mean, even here, we could have kept continuously making lower highs and lower lows, but a whale stepped in there and we started to move to the upside, and that's when everyone was getting excited. But in my opinion, there wasn't a ton to get excited about until we broke out of this triangle and we made a higher high. We haven't made these higher highs. You see these highs here, they're lower than here and lower than here, or even, you know, and those are the things, guys, that we got to pay attention to, these lower highs. As soon as a higher high set in, then guys can get excited. So a higher high for us would be put in, I would want to see it around here, around that 46, 47. Would like to get up above that. I know, guys, if we get even higher than this, that could be a higher high. But in all actuality, with this trend line coming down and also all these peaks right here, I would like to see us break up above that. Break up above, set a higher low, so we pull back to the top of this what was resistance now turn support, and then we move and we make a run here at this little bear flag that was forming. Remember to keep an eye out on those bear flags, guys. Take a look at this volume. You see that pull that's coming down. Then we had our consolidation where the volume dropped off and we moved sideways, and then we had another drop. And the way that you would avoid this, guys, or know to get out in terms of this bear flag, what I did at least, and I knew to get out, was I drew trend lines. Remember how we've been talking about trend line breaks. So if we go from real body to right there, when that was broken, guys, take a look at what happened. That is truly the power of trend line breaks, guys. And that's where I wanted to even go through a couple. I read more about trend lines last night. I was sitting there and I said, you know what, guys, I'm going to dig even deeper into trend lines and what's been going on with them. Then I just started back testing things. I mean, even look at this one here. So we pull that through. We'll change the color just so you can see. Turn it to yellow. Look at this, guys. When we broke that trend line, we ran up, right? And there's good percentage gains in that. If you can play just trend line breaks alone, you can be successful. In my opinion, and from what I've researched, if you're patient and you wait for these, take a look, guys. Look what that break was. To the upside, 30%. There's a 30% move just off trend line breaks alone. That's what's so special about them. To the upside, to the downside. You can see Ethereum where I drew that trend line and we went over that whole course of trend lines part 2. And you'll see, you're looking at these trend line breaks, guys. And there's just so much that you can do with trend lines. And even down here, guys, just that trend line, how we broke out of it like we were anticipating. And we broke out on a little bit of volume. So these are the things that I really want you to study. I really want you guys to step back, pay attention to trend line breaks, the moving averages, what's going on with the candles, all different things like that. Pay attention to these BART patterns. So whenever you see a big bar that's a spike like this and we move across sideways, a lot of the times we're going to complete that BART and we're going to go back down. Yeah, you still have to be prepared and plan for the upside, but it's a downsided market, guys. We're moving down right now. And until that changes and we put in that higher high, that's what we need to stick with, and that's what we need to anticipate. So guys, one more thing here. I want to go to the day chart, and we're going to step back on this and kind of see what the candles are looking like. If we're getting any promising candles forming off here, I'm going to get rid of all our trend lines so we can really see this here on the 1 day and zoom into these candles, see what's happening. All right. So our best bet for today, guys, would be to put in a hammer candle. What we would want is this body to close up a little bit higher, because you always want the wick to be 2 to 3 times as long as what the body is. And we're not having that. Now we're getting close on this candle if it were to close on this for the day. But that's what you want to see. And you also want to see it put in on volume, which is very important. You want to see these hammer candles and different candle formations put in on volume. And you also want to see them on like Fibonacci lines or trend lines or support and resistance lines, those different types of things. And if we're looking at this, guys, we're seeing if this, it will put in that 0.786. You see it, we're kind of forming a hammer off the 0.786. Now, if we do close at the 0.786, what I would look for is we have to get above this 0.618 here, which I think we could do. Then we're going to be running into these moving averages. So if we were to run up here, first area I would look at to see if we could get over is 35.44, which would be tough, and that's a $144 move, guys. And then I would look to this 50 around 36.83. I don't see us getting a ton higher than that, just due to all the cluster up here, the resistance, the wicks that have taken place, that type of stuff. But you know, guys, look for the hammer candle, see if we can form it today. We had a very nasty, almost like a bear's belt hold candle that formed yesterday here on the downswing, so that could indicate that we could be pushed down farther. But we're going to have to see what happens today and what happens with the volume. Those are the things I'm paying attention to. I hope you guys can write some of this stuff down and say, hey, you know, are we going to be moving to the downside more? Are we going to be moving to the upside? Just kind of factor things in. What are the moving averages doing? What's the Fibonacci doing? What are the candles looking like? You know, what's the MACD looking like? The RSI, and we can throw the RSI on here quick, guys, just to take a look. A lot of guys look at the RSI, so it's one that I always pay attention to as well. And we're going down, and we still have not broke this as well, guys. Remember when yesterday I drew a trend line, kind of put it like right in here, and we haven't broken that. So say we came up here and we broke this on good volume, then you might want to think about maybe taking a quick long, and we may get pushed up a little bit. So, you know, guys, I just want to tell you, God bless each and every one of you. It's been a pleasure to be here with you. There's not a ton to talk about today, guys. We're just kind of continuing what happened yesterday. So I don't want to bore anybody, but I wanted to get this out to you and just tell you, you know, pay attention to this stuff. Plan for the long side, plan for the short side, plan to go sideways, all that different type of stuff. But leave it down low what you're doing. Are we going to hold 3,400 here? Are we going to hold the 0.786? Or are we going to continue to go down, and is the double bottom our best chance? So God bless each and every one of you. Leave it down low.